All right.
Good to go?
I think so.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, we're ready to go. Good morning, everybody. Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV, and today we have a very special guest, Steve Trang of Stunning Homes Realty.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are the broker over there, broker owner, correct?
That's right.
All right, so let's do a little icebreaker here, Steve. No, we're not. Okay. We'll let you just introduce yourself. We won't open any cans here yet. But, yeah, we'll be having Matt Potter and I think Matt Nicole on later this week. So that's awesome.
Cool.
So Stunning Homes Realty representing.
That's right.
So today we're going to be talking about, I think we initially named it helping agents grow their business, but we're going to be more focused on core values and, adding value to agents through having, those important aspects of a business setup and brokers to be able to recruit and, get the right talent that you're looking for that
Absolutely.
kind of align with those core values. So we'll give you a couple minutes and just introduce yourself to those that don't know who you are, Steve.
All right. Well, I'm Steve Trang, Stunning Homes Realty. I've been in the business about 10 years. We started Stunning Homes Realty beginning of 2013, so a little over 4 years now. We started as a small boutique. Today we're still technically a small boutique, but I think we're starting to make an impact, and that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and sorry, here's a story. Actually, I was going to bring this up, but Steve Trang is one of the guys when I started Lister Pros that gave me a shot.
Yeah.
It was, man, why did you take a shot with me? Because I still remember going into his office. So in December 2013, I'm like, hey, I want to start this company called Lister Pros, and we're going to be doing this. And then I sent out an email, and then they reached out, hey, come to my office and do a presentation.
Yeah.
This is when I wasn't rocking T-shirts. I was still halfway in the bank, So
Right.
I remember going and meeting with you and Jill, and I think you're like, I'm a one-man show, and you're used to using another company that had,
Right.
a lot more employees. So that was probably hesitation number one. Like, how is one guy going to manage all of our brokerage's listings?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for us though, when you first came in, we're like, let's see what this guy's like. But the thing we liked about you were young and hungry. You had the desire to grow, versus your competition, which I believe at that time there's only one really.
Right. Yeah.
I think there was another one up and coming, but at that time they were complacent, and God, no one wants to do business with complacent people.
Right.
Yeah. So that was it. I just saw the hunger in your eyes, and obviously we were right.
So being 100% honest, because I've never even had this conversation with you, how was the transition out, and how did I do it? I mean, there's always challenges, running it as a one person. I was one person for about 8 months, so
it was great.
Quite a bit.
It was great, right? Because there was only a handful of us, so
a
handful of us, of your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So you did a phenomenal job. We were really, really happy.
Yeah, I remember filling up the Prius with posts and.
Yeah,
man, those are the scary days.
When
on
you
the
had
freeway.
your Prius, when the equipment's more expensive than the car.
Yeah. Pretty much, man. All right, well, awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah.
Awesome having you on here. So let's talk a little bit about Stunning Homes Realty. And since I've known you for, I don't know, what's it been, 3 years?
3-4 years, yeah.
3-4 years. And you've grown a lot since, I was introduced to your company. I remember meeting with you and Jill, and there was a handful of other people, but now it's grown over time. So what would you attribute that growth to at Stunning Homes Realty?
I would attribute it to two different things. I would say a lot of what we do and passionate about is personal development, and I think the other part has to do with core values. So we develop leaders, and really spending a lot of time with the individual agents while they're growing their business. I think that's one thing that set us apart in helping us grow and attract the right people.
So focusing on personal development and growing leaders and just helping, support them grow their individual real estate.
Right, absolutely.
So what do you enjoy most about owning Stunning Homes Realty?
Well, the part that I enjoy, and it goes back to what I was just talking about, developing leaders, is influencing the influencers. And when you're working with people and you're helping them grow, that's so darn fulfilling, but also watching that reach and impact multiply. Because if you're making these agents stars, then they've got people underneath their team. So they're growing themselves, they're growing their influence, they're growing their agents, and those agents are growing and influencing other people as well. So that's been the funnest part, watching that effect multiply.
So we'll talk about core values a little bit more in depth here, but what can you tell us about the culture over at Stunning Homes Realty?
Yeah.
Because I think that's one thing that really differentiates different brokerages. Like I can look at a Keller Williams or Stunning Homes Realty, and there's a lot of different brokerages out there, and they all kind of have like their different how what they cater towards, or not necessarily cater toward, but the culture is significantly different at every single office and what they focus on.
For us, I would say that it's about having fun, enjoying what you do, but also meaning business, right? Because if you're not making the money that you need to make to survive, who cares about the kind of fun you're having? So it's fun and it's business. And I think that the other part too is with our culture. You said like all these different brokerages, how they have these different cultures. I think it starts at the top, but also part of who you bring in. If you got the people with the wrong culture, it's just not going to be a good fit. I mean, if you got a guy that's going to come in with a suitcase and tie, he's going to hate our place. It's just going to be too much. It's going to be too crazy for them.
All right, so fun in business. Being able to balance that, because sometimes you see brokerages where it just looks like they're like
partying all the time.
80% fun, 20% business.
Yeah.
You see these things. It's like, and that's cool from a culture standpoint, but what does that do at the end of the day for your agents and their bottom line? Are they doing more deals because of this, or is it just a hangout place? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
I see that a lot.
There's a couple
that
come to mind.
Look at us, we're look at us, we're so innovative, but at the end of the day, people are with brokerages and whatnot. They want to be successful in business.
Absolutely, and that's part of caring about the people that are underneath you, right? Underneath is not the right word, but they're our partners, and working with them and identifying what they want and what's important to them. If you know their why, then you can help them, right? So yes, we're having fun, but it's also business, because if we're not making money, then it's just a waste of time.
At the end of the day, you could go have fun with your family. If you want to be on vacation, go be on vacation with your family. It's not like So awesome. How did you come up with? Actually, how did you come up with your core values? But first, what are your core values at Stunning Homes Realty? Okay,
so we have 5, and it's easy enough to remember because it's an acronym. GIVES. So it's growth, impact, value, excellence, and service. Growth, it basically means that you're constantly learning. You're spending a lot of time in your car listening to Audible, because you're driving around a lot. Oh, yeah. So you're on Audible.
So you provide Audible?
No, we don't provide Audible. Well, maybe
someday. That might work out. I listen to a lot of books now. Save some money.
But you're always learning in the car. And then we want everyone to be super confident, borderline cocky, right, at our company. But you got to be humble enough to accept criticism. And if you're not humble enough to accept criticism, then it's not the right fit. So you got to be continually growing.
Mm-hmm.
Impact, again, I talked about, influencing the influencers, but it also comes back to giving back to the community. So me personally, for every deal that we close, we donate to Phoenix Children's Hospital. So last year we were able to donate $10,000 to PCH. Oh, wow. Our goal this year is $20,000. So we can make a difference, because when we're talking about making money, we're making good money. What are we doing with that money, right?
Right.
Value, it's giving more than anyone else. So for us, to our agents, we provide, Lister Pros. For the agents, we want to give more options. So, when you're listing with me, when you're listing your house with me, I'm not just going to take photos with my iPhone, throw it in MLS, and just kind of wait, right? We've got more features and benefits, programs that we advertise to help our sellers stand out. Excellence, everything we do is top notch. We don't cut corners. We don't try to save costs. I'm not saying we're stupid with our money,
right?
But if it's a product we're putting out there, it's got to be good, and that's why we partner with Lister Pros, right? I don't care if the house is $50,000.
Sure,
we're sending a professional photographer over there. I don't want to be embarrassed by our product, right? Even if the house isn't ideal, and you've made some of our houses look really good. So, but
some of those have been,
it's a challenge sometimes.
Yeah.
But we still want to give a top-notch service. We don't want to cut corners just because your house isn't as nice.
Right. Yeah.
And then the last thing is service, and that's the one that's most important to me. That's something that was taught to me by my dad. My first job was when I was 5, being a host at my dad's restaurant. It failed, but he taught me a lot about service, and that's that's the most important to me. So that comes back to, as an agent, I want to serve you, right? Like servant leadership is a hot topic right now. People are talking about that. But on top of that, when we're working with our clients, it's not sign you and then ignore you for 6 months. It's I'm committed to you. I'm working with you to get your home sold, right? So that's something that's really passionate.
So these core values, how did you come up with these?
So it's kind of funny. I've probably read 100 times, have other mentors and leaders tell me, like, you need to come up with core values. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. But I was at Insane Productivity Live and Unplugged, Darren Hardy's event, and he said it. And that one time, it finally
The one
stuck,
time
right?
it clicked in your,
Right?
you're like, all right.
When the student is ready, the master will appear, right? So I finally stuck at that time. So a lot of companies, they'll just write down what sounds great, right? And you see that with some companies. What I did is I went back and actually surveyed our agents. Say, hey, look, we're coming up with core values. We're going to write them down. Before we write them down, we want all of you to tell me what you think our core values were. So after we got that, we got I want to say 15, and that's way too much. So we want to come up with 3 to 5. So 3 to 5 is a particular number, and I'll ask you this question, right? Because you grew up with religion.
Yep.
The 10 Commandments is pretty important.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Can you recite all 10 Commandments?
Can I? No.
No. And most people can't, even if you go to church every Sunday, right? And it's a pretty big deal to God. So for us, if people can't remember 10, and it's pretty important, we'll just stick to 3 to 5 because that's a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, and making it an acronym makes it easier to remember as well.
Absolutely. So we're fortunate that the 5 values lined up in that way.
So are there any challenges with these values that you guys have at Stunning Homes Realty?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is living in it, because we have, after we've identified the core values, we then looked at it and said, hey, you know what? There are some people here that don't live up to these core values. And specifically, like the big example, the one that's most important to me is service. Are they closing deals? Yes. Are their clients loving them? No. Are they an ambassador of our brand? Are they making Stunning Homes Realty look good? No. These guys are bringing money into the company. So when we asked them to leave, it was tough.
Right.
But we also knew it was the right thing to do.
Sure. At the end of the day, you got to stay true to those core values and really uphold that more than the money. It's more about that,
It absolutely is. But when it comes crunch time, when it's, everything sounds great on paper.
Yeah.
But when you actually have to do it, oh man, that was tough.
So you've been in business for 4 or 5 years? No. Well, you've been a real estate agent for a long time.
10
but
years.
Stunning Home Realty has been around for
4+.
4+ years.
Yep.
So you've obviously been able to recruit and retain some agents at your brokerage.
Yeah.
If somebody out there is, not particularly happy with their current brokerage and are considering a potential change, what makes a right fit agent for Stunning Homes Realty? What makes sense for that makeup of the current agents that are over there?
It goes back to the core values. They got to live the core values. And, when we looked at the core values, when we identified them, one thing I'll say too is, I'm sure you'll agree, a lot of the top agents in the Valley probably have the same values, right? You can't make it that far without believing in service and excellence and value, right? And personal development. So one of the things for us once we've identified the core values, then it was up to us and all of us to live those values, and not just live it, but try to be the best at it. So if you're the best at those values, then it makes it easier to recruit, right? Because you can already demonstrate to this other agent, like, look, you're already doing really well. I want to help you get to the next level. But the expression, birds of a feather flock together, if we're living those values, it's going to be a lot easier to recruit top talent because they're living the same values.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and as those are posted, if somebody starts to waver away from those core values, it's easy to sit down and be like, hey, these are the commitments. This is what we stand for.
Right.
Either you're on board or you're not on board,
Exactly. And when we post, as part, we have the ICA, Independent Contractor Agreement. I say, look, here's an addendum to the ICA. Like, these are our core values. You agree. Like, you acknowledge.
These are non-negotiables.
These are our core values, right? So as far as what else about coming to Stunning Homes Realty, there's a lot of brokerages out there. I was talking to my buddy Jay. He runs Remax up in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
There are over 4,000 brokerages right now in Arizona.
There are a ton and more popping up all over the place.
Right.
You know? So at the end of the day, it's like, what makes you different? You know,
Yeah.
why are agents attracted to Stunning Homes
Yeah.
Realty?
Right. And so it's a great question. And we are not the cheapest. You know, we tell people when we're recruiting, like, we're not the cheapest.
You're not the Walmart of real estate.
We're not Walmart. We're not JCPenney. We're trying to be the Nordstroms. You know, I'm trying to make Stunning Homes Realty the Apple. Right. I'm trying to be Steve
I
Jobs
saw
over
a post
here.
you made the other day of like those high companies.
Absolutely.
You know?
Right. So
your vision is on point.
So we tell them, you know, we're not the cheapest, but we're going to make you more successful because I'm going to be committed to making sure you're successful. Right. So I would say that's the big difference with us versus everybody else. And they know it. When we talk, it's not just like, hey, let me get you over here. This is not a fraternity, you know.
Right.
I'm trying to get you in the room, and then that's it one time.
Yeah, you're not trying to, you know, because a lot of people say that agents are good for 3 deals. You know, they come in, let's make money on the few deals, and then
right. This is a lifelong
whatever. It's more of a relationship building, helping support those agents grow their business.
Absolutely, 100%.
You're in it together. You know, focusing on your core values. So, what else can you tell me about Stunning Homes Realty that maybe I don't know, or people watching may not know about Stunning Homes Realty?
You know, I would say in the past couple of months, we picked up 2 big rock stars. So we picked up Templeton Walker and Nate Randleman. And for looking today, we've got 6 teams in the top 100, right? Mm-hmm. So one of our goals was to get to 10% market share. But before we get there, we want to get to 1% market share. And I feel very confident with the last 2 pickups that we're going to get to 1% market share.
And those are some big names in the real estate business in Phoenix. So actually, it may be a better conversation. We may have them on the show later and ask them why they decided to go with Stunning Homes Realty. But ultimately, I'm sure you probably know why did they choose to move over to Stunning Homes Realty?
Because they knew that I would be genuinely interested in seeing them be even more successful. And these are guys that are really successful, right?
Right.
Those 2. Myself, Ryan Nager, Trevor Bradley, like we were 5 of the 40 under 40 this year.
So it's not like you have to be a brand new agent to fit the mold. You can be already a rock star agent and then see the value in Stunning Home Realty. And
absolutely. I mean, we're not limited to any one particular group. If you want to be successful, here's where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, man. Well, we're gonna have to have you in for a second segment because I know you're passionate about. And you're very smart on like SEO and all those systems when it comes to the tech side of real estate agents. And I think a lot of people could find value in that stuff if we went into more detail on that side of it. But this interview has been very informational around Stunning Homes Realty, what makes you guys different, your guys' core values, and why an agent would choose Stunning Homes Realty. But we'll be getting into more details as we interview Matt Potter, and he's been with you for a long time. Actually, I think he was one of the first Stunning Homes Realty agents that I met in the field, and he was wearing like a Minnesota Vikings jersey.
He's one of the original gangsters.
He's the character, but
Realty.
Man, he's very successful. He does a lot of things right, and I think that a lot of that is attributed to Stunning Homes Realty. Obviously, you can't do everything yourself.
He's one of our best ambassadors. You know, like when we talk about Stunning Homes Realty, like, isn't Matt Potter over there?
Yes, he is. It's hard not to his daddy diaries. I want to talk to him about that. Anyways, so we'll be having them on the show later today.
That's awesome.
Or later this week. But thanks for being on the show, Steve Trang. We appreciate your time and coming into our office here on Real Estate Pros. And we will see you guys on the next episode.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. One fell today, Ash.